Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Wyoming Adventures Reloading Series. In our first video, we found a powder charge that gave us a low ES, a low SD, and had some room on each side for a little of our accuracy errors when we reload. That's a velocity and pressure node, which is what we're looking for with our powder charges. So now we're going to take that load and we're going to tune it with seating depth testing, and that's what this video is going to be about. I'll link a video below on Erik Cortina's video of chasing the lands is stupid. Essentially, that's the method we're going to use to find the optimum seating depth for this load combination in this rifle. One of the things that we're limited by, though, is magazine length. We're using a factory Remington 700 Actions with a factory box magazine. Our magazine length overall is about 2.8 inches. So we're going to have to work within those constraints, find the best seating node accuracy, and work from there. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. The first thing we did was we took a factory round that was a known good accurate round, and we measured the base to ogive data on that. What we came out with was this blue highlight here of 2.120. And what that's going to do is give us a starting point. So from that 2.120, we worked down and up at 0.03 of an inch, and we seated 3 bullets in each range. Now, our original seating group was only 7 increments. These green highlights are a couple that I went back and tested after the original results. But let's take a look at what we got here. The shortest bullet at 2.111 inches gave us a group of 1.11 inches. And then we continued down to 0.76 inches at 2.117, 0.89 inches. The 2.120, which was our starting point, brought us back up to just under an MOA. 2.123, we shrunk the group again at half an inch. The original testing, we jumped to 2.126, and we had a 0.19 inch group. This is phenomenal. It's possibly the best group I've ever shot. Then we went to 2.129, and we opened up to half an inch again. So what I did was I went and loaded 1/1000th below the 2.129, and then 0.03 below that at 2.125. So we went and shot those groups. 2.125 yielded a 0.44, 2.128 yielded a 0.69. So in his video, Erik points out that these seating nodes is essentially an accuracy sine wave. And what we want to do is find the spot on that sine wave that yields the most accuracy for our rifle, but it also gives us a little room as those lands erode each time we fire the rifle. Now, what may be a little different for me is I'm limited by mag length. So I didn't quite get those 3 phenomenal groups in a row, which is what he suggests. He suggests sometimes you'll see 2, sometimes you might see 1, but you got to be careful not to fall in love with that. So if we look at it, sure enough, we see a form of a sine wave here where our groups grow and shrink as we move the seating depth. So our final choice of seating depth, believe it or not, I went ahead and I set on the 2.126. And as my groups open up, when I shoot this rifle, I'll know that my lands are moving forward. And I'll go back, I'll seat a few rounds a little longer, 2.127, 2.128, and I'll put myself back at the beginning of that node so I have room for the lands to erode but still maintain my accuracy. And you can see that in a visual representation with this graph that we did here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the groups we shot, just as another point of interest of how you can see these groups grow and shrink as we move through the seating depth lengths. So here is our first 2.11 inches. This would have been the shortest round that we loaded. We've got the 1.06 MOA group. You can see that. The next shot of the original 7, we actually shrank that group a little bit. 0.73 MOA, 0.76 inches. That was 2.114, 2.117, 0.89 inches. So we opened up a little bit here. 0.92 inches at 0.120. And if you remember, 2.120 was the measurement of our factory cartridge. We felt like that was a safe place to start. We knew that cartridge would feed reliably through this rifle, and we moved up and down from there until we hit our magazine length restrictions. Now here's where things start to get interesting. At 2.123, our group shrank to 1/2 inch. You could call that a one-hole group. It's a good-looking group for this rifle. And then here is our 2.126. That's a 3-shot group, 0.19 MOA. That was phenomenal. Very happy with that. And then you'll notice that we opened back up at 2.129, but only to 1/2 inch again. So that puts us right at the end of a velocity node. We went ahead and we tested 2.128. It was a little higher, and you were able to see that on the chart. So we chose 2.126 as our final seating depth for these rounds. So the next step in this process is I have, out of 100 pieces of brass, I've got about 15 remaining. So I'm going to load 6 for a velocity test. We're going to make sure that our velocity is good. We're going to get an average, that our SD and ES remains low. And then I'm going to load 6 to get my final group size. Our goal is to be around 0.4 MOA. I think that'll make this an excellent long-distance hunting rifle. It'll give us reliability out farther than we have any business shooting if our ES remains low and we can keep it in that 0.4 MOA range. So stay tuned for the next video. We're going to get some range footage. We're going to see how these final loads come out, and then we're going to either settle on this load or we're going to move on to some more testing. I'd appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe. We've got a store, bigwyoming.com. Go ahead and check out our merch. And we've got a Patreon. We're going to talk about how we're going to handle this reloading series going forward. I think we're going to do some exclusive releases on the Patreon, and then after a while move them over to YouTube. But we need your support to continue with this type of content. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a good one from Big Wyoming Adventures.